Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. For premium picks, DwyerVIP.com. On Roku, Dwyer Sports Betting. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. On March the 2nd of this year, I made a video that's still up on YouTube. You can give it a look. The video was entitled Dwyer-3/2/13 Gamblers and Gambling Positions to Consider. Right now, in that video, I talked about a hedge play on futures in the National Basketball Association. I recommended that you take the San Antonio Spurs to win the Western Conference. You actually got 2-to-1 odds on that play. You should have tripled your money on that play if you hedged it when they were playing Golden State, as I believe I recommended here online. If you hedged it partially, you should still have more than doubled your money on that play. In the East, the team I recommended, we're just following the odds. We're the Indiana Pacers at 9-to-1. Right now, let me point out, the Pacers right now are fighting the Miami Heat, who in my opinion continue to be overrated, right? And that series is tied at 2 games apiece. The winner of that series wins the Eastern Conference of the National Basketball Association, right? If you have Indiana, now's the perfect time to hedge out of any possible loss. In other words, you're looking at a 9-to-1 return if they pull the upset. But you can get right now on a series prop to win the series, the Miami Heat at -450. So let's do the math here, right? People always say, oh, how much should I bet? You have to bet according to your risk tolerance. What you should know isn't amounts, it's ratios. Right? So, if you bet $10 on the Indiana Pacers to win the Eastern Conference of the NBA at 9-to-1 odds, your possible winnings are $90. Right? Your loss, your possible loss is $10. What you can do to eliminate any chance of that $10 loss is to right here bet $45 on the Miami Heat to win the series at -450. Understand what that does. It changes the dynamic, right? Someone's going to win the series, Pacers or the Miami Heat. So, you've hedged out of the loss. If the Heat win the series, you win $10, the same $10 that you lose for the Pacers not winning the series, right? So you've hedged out of any loss. But off of your initial $10 bet at 9-to-1, if the Pacers win the series, you net $45, right? 90 minus the 45 that you've bet on the Heat, right? That's why hedge betting works, because you're getting a lot of leverage. You're actually getting an above market rate of return. By above market, I'm talking about, let's say, what you would get off a money market fund. But let's go further. For the truly hardcore gamblers among us, let's think about an alternative hedge for that Eastern Conference, right? The next game, Game 5, it's going to be in Miami. Miami's not a -450 to win that game. They're a -350, right? If you believe that if Miami loses that game, this series is over, that Miami isn't going to come back, then you can use this game as your hedge. You can bet 35 on Miami to win Game 5. We're dealing with the money line, right? 35 to win 10. right? The 10 is your total exposure on the Indiana Pacer side of the play. Let's go one step further. If you believe, as do I, that these two teams are evenly matched, and the 7.5 point spread on Game 5 is a bit outsized, especially since Indiana has already beaten Miami in Miami, Game 2, and has already played them into overtime in Game 1 in Miami. If you feel that Indiana defensively is an excellent team and that the pace of Game 5, given the familiarity between the teams, is going to be a slow pace, then why not hedge the hedge? Bet both sides of Game 5. Take Miami to win at minus 350, right? 35 to win 10. Keep in mind, we can be upside down here because this is a hedge against possible winnings of $90, right, on Indiana to win the Eastern Conference. You can take Miami to win the game at minus 350 and hedge it with Indiana at plus 7.5. Those are the odds as I'm making this video at 8:11 a.m. Pacific on May 29th, 2013. In other words, if the game is close, you win the point spread part of the play. You win $10, right? If you bet 11 at minus 110, you would win the $10, right? On the money line side of the play, if Miami wins a close game, Indiana shows up, but Miami wins, you actually win $20 on the game, right? In other words, in hedging the $10 outlay on the Pacers to win the Eastern Conference, you would actually make $10, right? And you'd be able to sit back for Game 6 and Game 7 knowing that you're already in the black on the entire experience. Of course, if Indiana wins the game, then it's time to fasten your seatbelt, because at that point, right, you would be out $25 on Game 5, but you would be looking at a much more palpable possibility that Indiana is going to deliver at 9-1 to win the Eastern Conference. More importantly, if Indiana wins the game, understand they would almost certainly be favored in Game 6 at home, meaning that on a money line play, you would have another opportunity to hedge the bet, right, by taking the Heat and actually getting probably a plus 150 on the Heat side of the play for Game 6. Right, so do the math, fool around with the numbers. Let's take this hedging philosophy one step further. Given that these two teams are battling it out, right, and given that the San Antonio Spurs are playing their best basketball of the year, let's remember, they just swept Memphis, right, 4-0, right, winning 2 of those games on the road, right? And given that, while Miami's battling with Indiana, the San Antonio Spurs are resting. We know Miami and Indiana are going to play at least 2 more games. There might even be a Game 7 in that series. Now, given all of that, the casino somehow is offering you a plus 220 on San Antonio to win it all. That's preposterous. You need to hop on that right here. Understand, if San Antonio played the Heat just straight up, Game 1 starting in 2 days, it would be a bit of a reach to believe that San Antonio would be a greater than 2-1 underdog in the series. Right here, the Heat actually have to fight at least a couple more games. San Antonio is home, and we know San Antonio is peaking. And you're getting a plus 220? I'll take my chances. I like that play. Understand, too. Hold on one second. Understand, too, that with regard to the futures prop, since it's a series prop, right, not a game prop, you'll actually have ample opportunity to hedge out of the loss as the series goes along. Also remember, too, that the NBA finals are structured differently than even the NBA Conference Championship Series, right? Because in the finals, you play 2 games in one location, then you play 3 games in the other location, then you play 3 games in the other location, then you return for 2 games in the first location, right? And so just think it through. If the Heat come out of the East, then we're talking about the middle 3 games being played at San Antonio. And if Indiana comes out of the East, and in my opinion, that's a distinct possibility, right? If Indiana comes out of the East, understand that I believe the Spurs would be the home team. Double check me on that. In any event, the Spurs right here at plus 220 to win the NBA championship, I think that's very strong value. Let me go one step further, and I'm going to sound crazy here. But again, we're just playing odds. The Indiana Pacers to win the NBA championship right now are a plus 1,000. You're getting 10 to 1 odds on a team that has already beaten the Heat twice, right? Twice, including once in Miami. My point is simply, if you're a hedge bettor, you need to take that leverage too. You need to put $1 or put $2 on the Indiana Pacers to win the NBA title. I'm not saying they win the title. All I'm saying is understand, if you're getting leverage, let's say they play the Spurs in the NBA Finals, and let's say you have money on both sides of the aisle, one at 10 to 1, the other at 2 to 1, right? Understand, if I bet $10 on each, and that's the matchup for the finals, I've already made money, right? Because if the Spurs win, I would win $20 in profit, right? 20 minus the 10 that I would have bet on Indiana to win the NBA Finals would leave me with a $10 profit, right? And of course, if Indiana pulls the upset, then I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Because if I bet 10 on both, the Indiana side of the play would get me, right? 10 times 10, 100, minus the 10 bet on San Antonio. The only reason why you're getting these crazy odds is because the Miami Heat, a team that was favored to win the NBA championship 2 years ago against Dallas and lost, right? A team that quite frankly struggled against Indiana, not just now, but during the regular season. A team that, quite frankly, has some guys who haven't been playing their best basketball, Dwayne Wade, and have other guys nursing other injuries, Chris Bosh and his ankle, and of course, when you look at the Heat, and when you look at Roy Hibbert of the Pacers going to town in the paint, you realize that this Heat team doesn't have a Willis Reed, a Moses Malone, a Robert Parrish, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a Shaquille O'Neal, and Hakeem Olajuwon in the paint, right? Because the casual fans have overvalued the Heat here. You have stunning values, and I mean stunning, on the other teams, right? Tim Duncan is wearing 4 rings. 4. And you're telling me that after his team wins the Western Conference, some casino is going to give me a plus 220 on them winning the NBA championship when they might even be favored at tip-off of Game 1 if Indiana comes out of the East? You've got to be kidding me. I'm taking that leverage. Anyway, hope this video has been helpful. Give the odds a look. Visit VegasInsider.com, an excellent site that posts odds. Visit oddschecker.com and also visit intertops.eu. They all have odds. You can look at the odds, the actual odds being offered by actual casinos in making your decision. And of course, only bet if you're in a jurisdiction in which it's legal to do so. Thanks for watching.